I called it. I called it. The return of two legends in One Piece. And for sure, I wasn't the only one, and it wasn't that hard to guess, but let me have it. Before I tell you who, let's build into it because this chapter was good. Beginning the chapter, we find out if Luffy and Zoro will let go of Lucci and Kaku from their cuffs to assist them in battle against the Seraphims. Maybe not assist because no doubt Zoro and Luffy would have folded the Seraphims alone, but to make sure they don't die by anything in battle. Zoro doesn't trust any words from Lucci or Kaku. Kaku tries to say whatever he can to be freed again, but by saying the right things. Meanwhile, Lucci keeps it 100 and tells Luffy and Zoro what's still the agenda, and that's to kill the 7 Vegapunks along with going after Stussy after her betrayal to CP0. But Luffy savagely keeps it 100 with Lucci too. After telling Shaka to give him the keys to free the two, he proceeds to tell Lucci not to go after his friends or the Vegapunks after defeating the enemies because he can't beat Luffy either. Luffy got that Yonko confidence already and is basically telling Lucci to know his place. Of course, this agitates Lucci, but he complies since the first person he wants to kill is Luffy anyways. So in order to do the rest of his killings, he has to go through Luffy first. Lucci, listen to me, you are not that guy anymore to body Luffy. You had your chance during the Water 7 and Enies Lobby part of the series, but it's over for you. But by all means, I ain't calling you a scrub. Just a scrub to Luffy in his new Gear 5 transformation. Now, we get a team up I and your favorite One Piece content creator probably would have never guessed. Luffy, Zoro, Kaku, Lucci versus the Seraphims, and I'm all for it. It's really exciting to see the four fight together.
We fight together.
Luffy and Lucci team up together. Luffy goes Gear 4th and Lucci goes into his hybrid form against Seraphim Kuma, and they hit him with a Kong gun and a 6 King pistol. Easy, next. Zoro and Kaku team up against Seraphim Mihawk, but before they attack him, earlier Zoro notices S. Mihawk had the Devil Fruit abilities of Daz Bones, that's Mr. 1, and that Devil Fruit was the Dice Fruit where the user can turn his body parts into sharp steel blades. But S-Hawk had that Devil Fruit. And somebody else pointed out online how this means the Seraphim Zoro is facing is all of Zoro's major fights wrapped into one thing. They have Lunarian DNA coming from King, the same appearance of Mihawk and his swordplay, and of course Mr. 1's fruit from Daz Bones. This means nothing though, because this thing isn't even coming close to Mihawk's strength and swordplay. Kaku, who isn't in his draft form, and Zoro both hits S-Hawk and demolishes that Seraphim too with a Tempest Kick and an Onigiri. Can you just imagine if these Seraphims are annoying as hell and can like regenerate their body parts even though they're robotic? That would be a way to make them really freaking annoying. Now let's go to Vegapunk. At last, we see the location he's been at this whole time. He's imprisoned inside the research facility along with Cypher Pole agents. Cypher Pole 5 through 8 is imprisoned here and realizes if Vegapunk is also now a prisoner, that means he had no part of this when they got captured and taken after arriving on Egghead Island. I just need to see who the traitor is. Which Vegapunk y'all got as the traitor and why? Let me know. Before seeing the end of Egghead Island this chapter, reports have now come in that over 100 ships of all sizes are heading for Egghead Island. I thought CP0, Kizaru, and an Elder was a problem, but now they got all this backup on the way. Luffy and the crew needs to get moving already with everyone. Y'all ready for this now? Finally, one of our first scenes on Elbaf is here. And who better to cut to on this island than our favorite red-haired pirate? Sorry, kid. Shanks. He's drinking in a bar, and similar to how Luffy was a kid begging Shanks to take him along with the crew on an adventure, another kid is begging the same. Shanks doesn't let this kid in either and tells him he can't come. All of a sudden, a crewmate, I believe that's Rockstar, bursts through the door and informs Shanks and the crew about Captain Kidd and his crew making way to the island. Ready for the reveal of two icon characters? Shanks says he took too long in leaving, but he couldn't help himself after seeing and chatting it up with two old friends. And those two friends is none other than Dory and Bragi from Little Garden. They finally made it home back to Elbaf. I wonder if one of them finally settled the fight. I'm sure it came to some sort of tie and they decided it's been long enough and they need to head back home. They're here with Shanks and will help him in this battle against the Kid Pirates. Hey, GG kid. Just like the Heart Pirates, you were just highly unfortunate to run into Shanks. Just like Law and his crew was highly unfortunate to run into Blackbeard, another Yonko. There's only so much you can do against these guys, and I'm sure Shanks is allied with most of the giants there, especially if he has the alliance of Dory and Bragi. At the same time, he is lucky that Shanks is willing to give him an option, and those two options are this. Shanks tells Rockstar to send one last message to Kid. The message is basically, fight me now or leave your road poneglyph with us and disappear. Two options for Kid, and I highly doubt Kid is gonna cooperate with that second option in leaving the road poneglyph and running. Even if the red-haired pirates are the ones who ended up taking one of Kid's arms. Before I go to Kid's part of the chapter, can we just have a moment for Rockstar, who's part of Shanks' crew? When we first see Rockstar, he is delivering a message for Shanks to Whitebeard's crew and directly to Whitebeard, and now even today, he's still delivering messages. One of these days, he's gonna message the wrong pirate, and Kid might be that one pirate. I hope Rockstar is pretty strong. Alright, finally, the Kid pirates. Everyone there notices people standing at shore waiting for their arrival, and one ship sailing towards them. What we hear next is interesting. Killer says the last time they ran into the red-haired pirates, they couldn't even get a glimpse of Shanks, and they were beaten bad by them, and Kid lost an arm to them in battle. So we all know Kid lost his arm to them, but we didn't know who made him lose that arm. It was always my headcanon for some reason that Shanks cut it off as leader of the red-haired pirates, but if they never saw him last time, that would be impossible. But this chapter may have hinted that Ben Beckman was the one to actually take Kid's arm, after Beckman makes a remark how the enemy sure is angry with them. Lucky Rouge laughs at him and says, you know who he holds a grudge against. So that may be hints that Beckman is the one responsible for that. For all we know, he shot Kid's arm off with his rifle. Kid is ready for this fight though, not phased of his fight beforehand with the red-haired pirates, and the chapter ends with the break confirmed for next week. We shall now see Red Hair versus Red Hair, Battle of the Armless Captains. Also, it's not a true Shanks appearance until we see the chapter end with him and a confirmed break for next week. Hope you guys enjoyed seeing Shanks for 2023. Can't wait to see him again in 2024. What a great chapter though, so much to go off of this, man. But best of all, Dory and Bragi are finally back in Elbaf, meaning when the Straw Hats does eventually show up to Elbaf, Usopp can run into the two again. I've been saying this for a while, but hopefully they can run into each other again and give Usopp another motivational prep speech and really make him focus on himself and becoming stronger, and maybe even helping him when it comes to his hockey. For all we know, those two could be masters at hockey, but at the time when we saw Little Garden, we didn't know it because we didn't know hockey was a thing. They're the ones who inspired Usopp to be such a great, brave warrior of the sea, so why not help him advance even further and help make Elbaf his arc? Ever since Usopp ran into the two, all he's been dreaming about is visiting Elbaf, so I'm sure it's going to be a great moment when Usopp runs into the two again. But, as always, thank you guys for watching, I appreciate it. Like and sub if you're new to the channel, I'm going to see you guys in the next one.